It has been a while. I shared my PvP build, the one that I have been using every time whenever I share some Battleground game. There is a comment, people asking or trying to find out the build that I am using. Currently the Battleground is closed, so I won't able to show all that much gameplay, but for starter, how the build looks, we can go to the right of exile practice, and I see you guys in a sec. So right now I'm inside of a training battleground. You can see after all the strive on my skills, I still have 100% uptime, almost 100% uptime on my slow time. You can see there is only 1 second downtime, and every time I use the slow time it gives me movement speed. Let me turn on some volume here, and I'll showcase how the build works. The build works around a lot of crowd control, freeze, and basically damage over time. Damage over time is gonna be huge. You use the slow time, activate the force field, and then leave it like that, and the people get frozen and they die. Now I have a lot of potency, armor penetration, so my build is going to be super strong. But you can see my base critical hit chance is 11%, about 17% block, and whenever I use slow time it gives me some movement speed as well. Like 30% movement speed is pretty good, almost 100% uptime, and I can get away with a teleport. Now that is out of the way. That is the playstyle of the build. You can go check out some real PvP games. There is a playlist on my channel, legend tier games, 75% win rate, 3500 assist. I have a really good season so far. But anyhow, let's dive into the build now, starting with the stance. The stance that we will be using is going to be the focus. It gives us additional 10% critical hit chance for the skill, which is going to be super good for us. Starting with the skills, we are using magic missile. You can go use the electrocute, doesn't matter. I like to use magic missile nowadays to have a bit extra range, and it does more damage. And then I'm using arcane wind, teleport, slow time, frost field. So these are the skills that we are using. As for the Warband bonus, as always, I have said this 1,000 times, using the protector with the block chance. This is the best one in my opinion, and making sure the Warband has this remnant here, shepherd button, giving you more life and size increase. It doesn't say that it will be making your character move faster, but having a larger size does make you move faster in Diablo Immortal. And as for the Paragon Tree, I like using the Slayer. It works best for my gym setup, like damage over time. And you can go try out the Gladiator. A lot of people use the Gladiator for some additional cheat death, but I personally been using the Slayer for the longest time. This is my favorite tree, and these are the skills I am using. And now let's take a quick look at the gems. The gems I'm using is the Seeping Bile, Wolf, Blast of Chase, Stone Vault, Viper Bite, Rolling, Everlasting, and then Bottle Hope. The most important gems in this setup is going to be Everlasting, and then Seeping Bile, Viper Bite, and Seeping Bile and Wolf. These are the gems that is going to help you fuel 4-piece Grace Reflection. Just hit the target and it will put a dot damage over time on your enemy, and once these gems will hit a target 5 times, Grace of the Reflection will deal additional damage, and this damage will not be strive, and it will hit them really hard. You don't even have to be close to the target. And once you will have 4 gems which will be putting a dot or dealing dot damage to the enemy, it will be really easy for you to get the 4-piece Grace bonus. But anyways, you can make it even better. For example, you can remove the Storm Wall and get a gem, 1-star gem, that is going to be the Misery Elixir. It will extend the duration of your harmful effect, and the harmful effects that we have is going to be CC and freeze, and the seeping bile will be harmful, viper bite will be harmful, and the everlasting bleeding will be harmful. So you can try and extend that with the misery elixir. I personally don't use that. I like the everlasting better, but that is my gem setup. Now moving on to the set pieces, like I said, I'm using Grace of the Flagellant 4 piece, and then I'm using 2 piece, which is arches to extend the beneficial duration of some of my gems, and skills like the Frost Field and Slow Time, really important. And then we are using 2 pieces of Feasting Baron, increase the duration of your harmful effects by 30%. Again, this will affect the CC Freeze, Seeping Bile, Viper Bite, Everlasting. It will extend the duration by 30%. Now before we go into the essences, the Reforge that I am using is going to be this. Duration of beneficial effect increase, damage taken while suffering from control decrease, damage taken from prey reduce, and then you can have either block or critical damage here, and all skills. And now let's move on to the essences. The first one is for the slow time, and this is going to be super important in this build. Slow time now increase your attack and movement speed while also causing your continuous damage and persistent ground damage effect to deal damage. And if we go take a look at the tooltip, this is where it gives us more information. Slow time increase your attack and movement speed by 20% for 5 seconds while also causing your continuous damage and persistent ground damage effect to deal damage 60% faster. And this is why we are using this. Whenever I use slow time and then cast the Arcane Wind, it will be dealing damage 60% faster. And my Seeping Bile, my Viper Bite, Everlasting will also take benefit from this headpiece, triggering 60% faster, and that is going to help me fuel Grace of the Flagellant 4-piece bonus, dealing more door damage and triggering this faster. That is why we are using this headpiece here, super important. Then the chest is going to be for the Frost Field, and Frost Field now grant you creeping chill, causing your attack to chill and freeze them on critical hit. This is our first source of freezing the enemy. There is another source of freeze in this build, and they both can trigger back to back, 2 different sources, 2 different freeze. So you will see player getting frozen and then unfrozen and getting frozen again from another source. But this is our first source for freezing the players and putting a chill on them. Next, the shoulder is for the teleport. Teleport now causes you to gain a shield that absorbs 33,000 damage and block 1 total loss of control effect. Now this doesn't actually work versus a couple of the skills out there, like the Barbarian Chains can still pull you in even though you have this active. Maybe that is a bug, but it has happened to me so many times it feels like it doesn't work. But having an extra shield is good. So whenever I use the teleport, it gives me shield. Sometimes it protects me from dying from the damage over time. And then for the legs, it is for the Arcane Wind damage increase, and then it is awakened and giving us 10% cooldown for the Arcane Wind, so we can cast it faster. Then our main hand is Tassel Bloom for the Arcane Wind, and this basically create an area, and Arcane Wind now summon a storm that grow over time, pulling in and damaging enemies, super good. Then we have the second main hand. It is for the slow time, reducing its cooldown and helping us reach that 30% maximum cooldown for the skill, basically giving us almost 100% uptime for the skill, which will give us some movement speed and increase the tick rate of the gems and some of the skills. And for our first offhand, it is for the Arcane Wind again, and this is our second source of freeze. Arcane Wind now also freeze chill enemy for 2.4 seconds, and this cannot occur more often than every 5 seconds on the player. So the first source is going to be the chest. It will apply a chill on the enemy, and if they get critical hit, they will get frozen. And if we hit the enemies who will be chilled from the chest frost field, they get automatically frozen from the Arcane Ring. So two different sources. And then we are using Withering Eye, super good debuff. If you have high potency Arcane Ring, now also apply a 30% reduction movement speed for 6.4 seconds. Arcane Ring, the cooldown decrease by 30%. You can see I have quite a lot of cooldown on my Arcane Wind, basically 30% cooldown, and that is coming from the Awakening slot. The first one is from the legs, 10% cooldown, then it is the weapon, cooldown 10%, then it is the offhand, I believe so. The second one giving me another 10% cooldown, so 30% cooldown, and you can see I can basically cast this every 4 and something second. Now let's talk about what the magic attributes I'm using. My belt has beneficial duration. On my amulet, I didn't try and get the skill cooldown, otherwise I would. I end up getting the continual damage taken decrease 8%, so I'm keeping that. But my hands has the skill cooldown, my boots has beneficial duration, my rings has skill cooldown. You can see damage taken from player reduced as well. If it gives you some movement speed, it will be good as well. Then the bracelets, damage taken from players is gonna be the best one here, or some sort of resistance if you really need that. And then the magic attributes on my essences here, you can see critical hit chance, beneficial duration, damage taken reduced, and critical hit chance, critical hit damage. You can see again beneficial duration, skill damage, critical hit chance, and critical hit chance, and critical hit chance. And every single piece you will see I'm only using items with fortitude and willpower to get maximum amount of armor penetration, potency, and resistance. Really important. And you can see again every single piece here is giving me the fortitude and willpower. This is something I will be replacing soon, and it will be willpower and fortitude, so I can get a bit more armor and armor penetration. So those are the build that I have been using. Super successful, support the build, 2 ton of AoE damage if you combine the right gems and have high potency. And there we go, finally doing the PvP guide again, even though nothing much changed with the PvP for Wizard. But hopefully it will help out some players who recently switched to Wizard or are new to the game. I'm signing off. See you all in the next one. You guys have a great day. Later.